1.46 billion was stolen from Bybit. This is, I think, 1/25 of the whole assets at Bybit. So 4% of the whole exchange is gone. One of the biggest, the largest crypto theft in history. So we're watching history unfold. And if you combine all the prior hacks so far, this is as much as 16% of that figure. First of all, the big news of today is the hack of Bybit. These guys were hacked in a very interesting, let me find this is a really good report about what happened. 1.46 billion was stolen from Bybit. This is, I think, 1/25 of the whole assets at Bybit. So 4% of the whole exchange is gone. One of the biggest, the largest crypto theft in history. So we're watching history unfold. And if you combine all the prior hacks so far, this is as much as 16% of that figure. So basically what happened was they didn't break the code or they didn't hack anything. They just tricked all parties in a multi-sig to approve a transaction, which was very similar to the real transaction, but it was a fake one that was changing the smart contract instead of doing the regular consolidation that the exchange was expecting. So everyone was expecting, at this time of month, we are consolidating, we are moving some coins from one address to the other, but the hacker managed to convince all of them to sign a different transaction involving the same addresses and same accounts, which was changing the smart contract logic and ended up in a lot of money lost. So let's see. Let's see if there are any other interesting facts we want to cover. Of course, there is now fear about whether the exchange is going to be able to recover from this and do whether they have enough funds. Of course, they say we have enough funds, but people are not believing them. So they are withdrawing a lot of money from Bybit. Here's Ben talking about.
I think it's not really loud,
You can't hear it, right?
Yeah, not much.
It's probably some feature that's preventing. Basically, he's saying, even if we are going to be able to cover all the withdrawals, even if we have a bank run. They are having a bank run, and they say we can cover. But if they can't, they will always say we can, because they've learned the lesson. And the moment you say there isn't enough, the problem just gets 10 times worse. So no one knows, actually. This is also a good reminder that concentration of custody is always a problem. And these things are honeypots for hackers. But this hack was very unique because this guy didn't really break any code. He just tricked everyone in a multi-sig setup, which I had never heard of something like this. So this is kind of a new frontier, new era for these hackers. What do you think? What do you think about all of this?
Well, first of all, it is really sad for people who actually saved a little bit of money, just put on exchange. All of a sudden, you cannot. I think they still let people. I don't know. It's only about Ethereum, I guess. And if they have other assets, I didn't see any evidence that people have issue with, for example, extracting their Bitcoin. But Ethereum, I saw. Even the CEO was talking about it's taking some time, but when you look at the reserve on exchange, it's actually not. It's drained. So first of all, I'm really sad for people who are possibly gonna face the consequences. Hopefully, they find a way to just pay people's money. The other thing is, it was the timing, like because when you look at the pair of ETC, alts were bleeding, and I'm going to show in the report that the liquidity was leaving the market already, and I was hoping to get some bounce back for people who just invest a lot in these shit coins to get some time, I mean, breathing interval to just cash out. But look what happens, because it's not only affecting Ethereum. Go look at the other alts; they're all bleeding even more because I think I'm not sure what is the mechanism there. It could be panic selling, first of all. Second of all, people who want to provide some liquidity, I mean, the exchange, including the exchange, probably have to sell some assets to be able to make some these withdrawals, pay people's money back. So I'm not really aware of the mechanics, but it's been actually a really bad time to see this sell pressure.
Yeah, and then the it's not helping Ethereum. It's been losing liquidity, leaking liquidity. A lot more people were expecting an alt season, which will finally allow ETH and other alts to, spike and follow Bitcoin after Bitcoin has gone up so much. But Solana essentially stole funders from Ethereum, and Ethereum has not been doing great. I think starting like in the last 2 years, it's been underperforming Bitcoin by quite a bit. And this is where people were talking about flippening and so on. And in fact, ETH BTC, the pair topped exactly when the calls for flippening top. When you look at Google Trends, you just search for
Yep.
the term flippening. When it peaks, that's the peak of the ETH BTC pair, and it's underperforming, and it's very concerning. And for ETH holders, of course, we have been very clear ever since, even like back then when Ethereum was growing much faster than Bitcoin. Our thesis has always been that ETH has difficulty keeping liquidity in because it's competing on utility, it's compromising on decentralization. To make more utility, make more flexibility, right? And then there's nothing stopping another chain to become even more centralized and even faster and easier to use. And that game never ends until you get to the end of spectrum, which is existing TradFile, like a centralized database on a company's servers that's running everything. So right now, Solana is actually doing this exact same thing. It has compromised even more on decentralization, and it has gained a lot in the way of fast transactions and low cost, which is now stealing a lot of those meme coin trading fees from Ethereum. And there will be a couple years later, there will be another one that steals that advantage from Solana.
Maybe faster, Sina, like precisely. There was utility versus just being a speculative platform. That was the debate. Like the claim was, okay, we have some utility and Bitcoin maximalists, those damn toxic maximalists, right? They were saying, hey guys, it's just all a speculation and there's no value proposition. But like you said, in the marriage era, people were calling about flippening, but they were forgetting if you want to absorb capital, just buy narrative. Like you said, they're going to be some other better storyteller with a better narrative, cheaper, they're going to steal the game from you. And that happened with Solana. And I believe the next, I don't want to like predict, I feel the next one who is going to win Solana, they might not even have a token. They don't need the token. Why you tokenize it? Probably is going to be a cheaper, one of these L2s would be the cheaper platform that you can do whatever you were doing with Solana, but no token, even cheaper, but centralized. We are literally going back to the fiat system, but in a semi-unregulated fashion that you can do actually bet on everything. That's the story. And now clouds are just going away, and people see what was the real value proposition here. A system that you can have a hard cap, can save your value there, and do not get into the game of, oh, buy this 100x. That was just one cycle. And people who were developing frameworks like, oh, BTC dominance going to 60% dropping, it means all season, or I don't know, ETH BTC reaching that resistant level or that support level, that means we're going to bounce back. All of those rules or um, influencers, the gurus who were developing all these mental models were based on two bull markets. That's it. They had two data points, and they thought it's going to be happening every single cycle. 2017, 2020, it was the ICO. Crypto was a new thing. A lot of people came into the game, and that was causing a lot of speculation. Money was coming in. Then we have 2020. It was the COVID time. They were expecting to see the same thing, and like, surprise, it didn't happen. Who is gonna buy the bag of shitcoins you were holding from 2020? Why would they? Like, why would I go get a shitcoin that is 3 years? I want to buy the new shitcoin. And guess
Exactly.
what? It's 11 million shitcoins now in the market. It was around 10,000 something coin market cap. I remember it was 10 to 12,000. Right now is 11 million crypto. And good luck finding the one that is gonna pump, because you're not the founder. You have to be a friend of founder to just get some liquidity and
It's
dump it on people.
it's
Yeah.
it, it's shitcoins on steroids, and um, for a while they would pretend that we have a new coin that does something fantastic. They would play with it for a while, a couple years, and then all the insiders would get early allocations, and they would pretend that it's about the tech. But meme coins came along, and they're not pretending. They only say that we are absolutely about the gamble. We have nothing else, absolutely nothing else. It's just a meme, and they're doing great, and the market is rewarding them, and liquidity is going out of the other big altcoins. And in fact, if you wanted to be a prudent altcoiner, you would have invested your money in Ethereum and ADA and Link and other big ones, right? Because they are the safest. But in fact, in this industry, things are the other way, right? The safer ones are the worst performing, because it's not about a fundamental value that's any of them is pretending to offer. It's mostly about novelty and the pump and dump. So people are kind of grasping reality now. Oldest, biggest chains are not exciting anymore. The meme value is gone. Now there are new memes. When you can, 1,000x your money in a few hours, who cares about long-term performance of Ethereum or other coins? So that case has weakened a lot. And for example, if you look at ETH BTC pair, when you buy ETH, your risk is much higher, right? You have less decentralization. You're relying on Vitalik et al. And the team to do a great job, and you're relying on all those experimentation to perform. So your risks are higher. If you even just keep up with Bitcoin, that's not great, right? You should be rewarded more for your risk, but in fact, it's the other way. You're actually losing. ETH BTC pair is now back to levels you could have seen in 2021 just for a moment. And then a brief moment, COVID period, before and after COVID. And then the next time you can find similar valuation, it was in the early days of ETH. In other words, most people, except like the very early adopters, most people that have bought Ethereum after March 2017, they now have less Bitcoin. So you took all this risk, you read all that white papers, you followed every single one of those thousands of ideas that Ethereum team has put forward, all those merges, splurge and upgrade and hard fork and all those activities. You followed every one of them. You went to the conferences, spent a lot of time, and you underperformed Bitcoin. You could have just bought Bitcoin and held. Now, you might think another meme coin is going to be outperforming Bitcoin. Of course, 1 out of a million, 1 out of 1,000, every once in a while they outperform. But You're competing with people who have a lot more knowledge than you. You're competing with the internal team that have already planned and they already have pre-allocation and they're already there to dump on you the moment you purchase. And then they will cash out and buy Bitcoin with it. So if you just hold Bitcoin, all that shenanigans that are happening elsewhere ultimately will come back to Bitcoin. You just miss the pump and dump, which you didn't have much chance to succeed in anyways. So that's the game. It's all about pump and dump. Now let's look at what's going on in the Bitcoin.
Yeah, let's do it.